So yeah, another video. Yeah, I'm 25 in a couple of days, and that's quite a shock. uh, I think basically for like the last 6 months, I've been so shaken by the fact of, oh my god, 25, that I have first been sort of saying I should introduce myself as 25 in advance, and then sort of almost inversely counteracting that in my head through mental calculations, going, no, 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 that's right, I have to subtract here, so really I'm 23. Just anything to avoid the reality, which is that I am so very close to being what I consider at this point to be old, right? Like, I have reached the point when life stops being a series of checkpoints, right? Throughout the entirety of my life, it has been a rush to achieve the next thing, you know. Or rather, it's not been a rush, it's been an endurance contest. I've just got to make it to this. I've just got to make it through this year. I've just got to make it through primary school. I've just got to make it through secondary school. I've just got to finish the GCSEs. I've just got to build this dog. I've just got to go to college. I've just got to do this project. I've just got to do this UCAS form, just gotta get to university, just gotta do this module, just gotta get a job. And I mean, I'm still technically on the just get a job thing. It's just, you know, life and crashed economy and oh gosh, just kind of everything went wrong at once. And it's like, okay, no, bring it down, let the shit get sorted. Like, okay, health problems, let's sort those out. Let's let the parents sort themselves out. Let's have the sorting out of where the fuck to live be sorted out. And so while all this has been going on, I've been lurching from disaster to disaster, because when you have a family full of people with anxiety, there is always some great calamity on the horizon. Oh my God, we've got to worry about this, and we've got to worry about that, and what do we do about this thing? We're going to do this thing now, we're going to do that thing, and it's just so important all the time, right? It's just all the time, every time, so important. It's just completely and utterly like we're doing this now because this matters, right? And it doesn't. It 9 times out of 10, it's just a passing fad, an idea that'll go. It doesn't fucking matter. But I'm starting to understand why this happens, right? Which is that I know how I mentioned before that, like, men are kind of damned because we're the people who know that nothing will change, right? Like I think I mentioned before that kind of like I had this realization that the reason men are always so fucking insane about things and so depressed or nihilistic or kind of keen to make themselves the victim, that they've been held back in some way, is that we haven't been, and we know that it doesn't matter if you're in charge, you're still gonna fuck it up, right? That's the truly terrifying thing about being a white sort of European, Anglo-American, whatever, cisgendered heterosexual guy, is you realize you run the world and you still cocked it up for yourself, right? Like, you know, there is this thing that happens when you realize you have the power, you have the control, you can't blame anybody else. Life is just shit, right? Like, and I'm saying this with a smile on my face, and I mean it. And it's partly because, hey, fucking sun shining, which really, like, the sun being so brilliant is kind of like a double-edged sword for me, in that, like, on the one hand, the sort of primordial part of my brain is going, it's sun, it good. Me go walk in sun, it be good, I see all. And on the other side is the intellectual part of my brain going, oh my god, it's climate change, we're all gonna die, the ice cap's gonna kill us all. Um, but, you know, really, I'm realizing that, like, this existence I've had for the last 2 years that I've called purgatory, this is just life. Right? Like, I feel like I'm in purgatory right now because I'm currently, like, being held back, really, from doing stuff by the fact that I don't currently know where the fuck I'm going to be living. Um, like, the house is going to be sold, but we don't know when, I really need to get around to reading Gormenghast, but it's kind of like Glungbarrow, which is the sort of the Doctor Who version of Gormenghast, in the sense that it's like you're stuck in this house. It's just kind of faded, just kind of dusty, constantly in a state of hurry and panic, but nothing ever actually happening or changing, right? Like, we have been in a kind of state of emergency of, we're gonna sell this house any moment now, for the last 2 years. And specifically the last 6 months, I have been kind of caught up in this almost cult of personality where people in my family have been like, no, this time we are definitely going to be doing this and this, and then we're going to be doing that, and it's just never happens, right? So it feels like purgatory in that way, but, like, really, I know what the economic system is like. I know what the various forces are like. I know that my entire generation is kind of up the Swanee way right now. Right? I know that it doesn't fucking matter about that, that my capacity to get a job isn't gonna be fucking stellar. I know that even if I know where the fuck I'm gonna be living, it's not like suddenly my life is gonna kick into fucking gear and I'm gonna get a stellar job and everything's gonna be awesome, right? It's not going to be the fantasy that they sold us, right? It's not gonna be, yeah, you get a job and then you get married and then you have kids and you have a dog or a cat and that's your life. No, that's not gonna be a thing. My life is going to be fundamentally different, because even if these things happen in some kind of way, shape or form, they're gonna happen differently. Partly that's just because of who I am, because of the things that I have, because Kalman syndrome is a fucking bitch. Partly it's because of this stuff, right? I mean, I'm thinking of actually deleting my YouTube channel. Well, not deleting it, because if you delete it, you have no control over people pirating it. But if you make it private, nobody can see it, but you can still tell YouTube, nope that, nope that, nope that, nope that, nope that, nope that. But that's gonna be kind of a thing, but also just generally, like, technology is going to change things. Like, even if I'm wrong about capitalism dying due to automation, right? Even if capitalism, you know, pulls off some kind of grand final turn, right? Like, maybe after neoliberalism we have, I don't know, egalitarianism squared, where kind of it's like super feminism but combined with capitalism. So it's capitalism has opened up the new markets of kind of all of the women in the world and all of the trans people and what have you, you know, all of these people who had been sensibly putting aside their money and, you know, trying not to die. Suddenly capitalism might go, ah, yes, you people, we will give you respect, we will protect you, and you will buy our shit. And then capitalism can undergo another great resurgence, and somehow there will be a role that the minimum wage workers can do in society, and that means, you know, 90% of, you know, the unemployed populations of the countries could do that machines can't. Like maybe that'll happen, and maybe I'll get a fucking girlfriend who's a fucking submissive. And actually, fucking at the moment, I believe the second point more than I believe the first point. No, but holy shit, like, no, but holy shit. I'm not even gonna talk about that. I am not even gonna fucking talk about that, because I think the last time I talked about maybe being happy, you know, some sad act who hates me was like, I must go and ruin this. And it's just like, no, get a girlfriend yourself, right? If you feel threatened by this ugly fucking mug, you got bigger fucking problems. But no, I'm just kind of in this part of my life where I'm wondering, like, is this it? Is this just it? You know, because if it is, I'm maybe beginning to think I'm okay with that. I mean, I am encountering the problem that kind of, the reason you do not go outside is that you wear through your clothes a lot more. Like, shoes! Good shoes! Good, expensive walking shoes! Worn away over the course of a year. I mean, admittedly, that's a hell of a lot better than the shoes I had before, but still, like, and so many trousers, worn away. And they were good trousers, damn it, they were good fucking trousers. Just worn away because when you're a fucking fat guy and you go walking, friction, man, friction is a killer to trousers. Maybe I should just get a fucking kilt. Save on that. Is that why the Scots go around wearing kilts? They just reached a point where they're like, you know what? Having trousers just means we wear out trousers, right? Let's save on the fucking. Let's save on the cloth and the yarn and just fucking go with a fucking tube of fabric to try and stop the cold, but without leave the area of most friction free. I can understand that now. I can understand why the kilt exists now. Like, I know there's probably all this kind of cultural stuff that I've always kind of respected as well, even if I don't necessarily know it. I respect that the Scots have a fine legacy for this shit, right? But like, I now also understand, like, the practically speaking, kilts are just smart because friction, it's a thing, and it really does rear through some stuff. So yeah, I've been going for a lot of walks. I've been going for an awful lot of walks, and I'm now dieting because yeah. Basically, the long and the short of it is, it's one thing when, like, thin people are telling you, you should really lose weight because, like, it increases heart disease and risk of diabetes. Then having your endocrinologist say, yeah, the reason you're having pain every day from your feet hurting is because you're too fat. I mean, okay, he said it a hell of a lot nicer than that, but that's basically what he meant, right? For the last 6 months, I have been waking up in utter fucking agony because of my goddamn feet. I'm just too heavy. I am just too goddamn fucking heavy. Which, on the one hand, is just like, well, fuck. It's like, oh. So in this life of purgatory, I now also have to stop eating. Joy. Um, but on the other hand, it's like, there is a way to stop this pain. I genuinely, like, when I walked into that endocrinologist's office, I was like, okay, so there's just not gonna be a thing for this, is there? Also, I might have sleep apnea. So yeah, that might explain why my sleep has always been fucking bad. And also, it might explain why, basically, for the majority of my childhood, I was like, no, I cannot sleep. The sleep will kill me. And why I have always cycled around the clock is just get away from the sleep, get away from the scary sleep. I don't know. Like this is the thing. You don't know this stuff. You don't grow up knowing this stuff. You just grow up knowing, hey, sleep, not good, not good. Anyway, I'm gonna pause this so I can blow my nose as a load time is the render time for the intro even. So yeah, I've been doing walking, and I've also been listening to a lot of podcasts. So that's been fun. Um, and I kind of nearly got closure on the sort of the Doctor Who Virgin New Adventures, Um, that was the run that kind of got me into Doctor Who. So listening to this podcast and kind of getting some closure on the Virgin New Adventures, it's kind of nice. Like, I'm putting that part of me behind me, and I think, like, I mean, I'm not putting it past me that, when Chibnall takes over and the new Doctor arrives, that it's entirely possible, especially if it's a female Doctor, that I will just become utterly in love with the show again. But it's equally possible that basically I might leave watching Doctor Who with Moffat, because I've been liking the last, the last series of Doctor Who has been better, slowly inching back up to where it was kind of Well, it's not as good as the Matt Smith years, but it's a hell of a lot better than Series 9, this kind of series. Because I've been liking watching it, but I'm finding that I'm having to watch them in batches of episodes. Just have to store them away, build up the strength to actually watch them, because at this point I am so familiar with the tropes, and they're 45 minutes long, so there's only so much time they have to be original, right? There are a lot of similar beats, and it's like if you have a longer story, you can flesh out original characters, you can explore concepts more, and they just don't have time. I mean, don't get me wrong, I can understand why they don't do the 12-parters and what have you. I think making a story 45 minutes long is kind of not helping things, you know. I think put more time into allowing a story to breathe. I think that's good. But hey, my opinions don't matter. I am part of the great fandom. And particularly part of the great fandom that is probably going to not be paying much attention at all very soon. So, but that's okay. Doctor Who will continue and continue and continue. Either that or Doctor Who will get cancelled, and then it will continue and continue in better forms in fan medium. Right? It's like Doctor Who gets better the moment BBC stops fucking with it. Yeah. And I've been doing writing, and the writing is going well. I know you haven't seen any of it. Well, you've seen a bit, but you haven't seen the stuff I have been doing. I mean, if I can check out my blogger, yeah, I released that short story Downfall, which essentially is a prequel for this collection I'm going to be dumping on people soon. It kind of grew, right? Originally, it was just going to be another story featuring the character of Amy Hurst, or going on with the Robert Gordon Banks stuff, right? And then I wanted to write a different kind of episode, and that it is ironic, really. Like the best takes I have on characters I want to write happen when I'm not intending to write them. Right? In that the best version of the Farshanook, as far as I am concerned, is William Dixon Wright. And that character was basically written to be an entirely different person, and I was like, no, actually this fits better. And then I was basically sort of writing a take on the Contravoxi Survivor, and I was writing this entirely different character, and I was like, no, actually, hang on, this guy makes sense as Robert Gordon Banks. And that's not spoilers, because this is like really this is the introductory sort of stuff, and it's for one of the stories, because this is the other thing, is that it started off as, hey, I'm going to do a thing with this character, hey, I'm going to do a thing with that character, hey, I'm going to do a thing with that character, and then those became one story, and I've nearly wrapped up that story now, but it also then became sort of, I've had this idea for a while to kind of do, well, I mean, it's a literal multiverse setting, right? Why do I tell one story at a time? Why you know, it's something that I actually love about the Discworld novels, is that there isn't just one Discworld novel series, you know. And it's actually what I love about Doctor Who as well. You don't just have your one, you know, series, you know. And it's what I like get about Game of Thrones as well. You know, you don't just have the witches. You don't just have I'm using the Discworld, the Discworld as an example here. You don't just have the witches. You don't just have the Watch. You don't just have Moist von Lipwig or Rid Cully and the Wizards or no, not Radagast. Oh God. Yeah, I've completely spaced on his name. Um, Bugger. But you know, yeah, I completely spaced on his name. But you know, it's not just, you know, one series. It's all these different series that are being told at once. And the reason you do that as a writer is if you're churning this stuff out, you get bored, right? And also, if you're gonna churn this stuff out, it's gonna be relatively consistent, right? Like, I'm not promising you a fucking magnum opus, right? I'm not promising you some really explorative, dark stuff that's gonna be, ooh, mind expanding. Yeah, this is pulp sci-fi. And also, right, I like writing certain kinds of characters. I have certain kinds of tropes that I like to write. These are the kinds of characters and tropes I need to be writing, right? Like, if I don't do this, I'm gonna do this anyway, right? Like, the reason I could never be a proper feminist writer despite my political leanings, well, it's not even political, despite my moral leanings, is that I get to writing and I'm just like, yeah, but pretty blondes though. Yeah, but pretty submissive blondes though. I mean, it's got to the point where, like, you know, I'm writing a story at the moment, and it's like this character is I mean, I'm already cheating a little in that I'm basically having, you know, a white, cisgendered, heterosexual guy in England, you know, doing the biography of her, right? But she is, you know, this super person from some, you know, village in Africa, and she's just awesome, and this is the story of how she, you know, um, how she takes on the Nazis and sort of creates her own little well, no, not her own little, that's condescending. Like, this is the story of how, you know, she went out there and she fucking kicked ass and took names and made a part of the multiverse that was ruled by black people at a local fucking level, right? And there is this part and where it's just like, okay, clearly I've been writing too long because this story that is supposed to be really quite, you know, this is supposed to be massively, this is not supposed to be and then let's look at the pretty submissive girl story, right? This is not that kind of thing. It's like, this is kind of like in the middle of writing a sort of suffragette story. You know, Emmeline Pankhurst stopped to kind of have a lesbian fling. It's like that kind of like, now hang on, what the fuck am I doing here? This isn't good. This is not in any way fucking good. Right? So I'm gonna have to edit that, and I'm gonna. I think that there's a bit earlier on that I think works to kind of address the fact that, like, no, this isn't that kind of story. Right? Because frankly, given every other series I write, you could be forgiven for thinking, oh, this series, oh, you're writing this series? Really, you? But also, like, it kind of acts as an interesting backdoor way into fleshing out the multiverse without having to cheese and make things awkward, right? But yeah, I'm still writing this, so there's no point kind of making myself out to be a bigger shithead than I might necessarily come across as when I get the stuff written. But yeah, the reason you write multiple different stories at once is so that you can write the sort of, your feminist masterpiece in one story, and then you could write your, badass white man goes around seducing all the hot chick story in another one. Okay, I don't think I actually have a badass white man seducing all the hot chick story. Like, I have bought William Dixon Wright back, right? I think I have bought him back more than once in this same story somehow. But funnily enough, I think both the ones with William Dixon Wright I have now finished off. Clearly I have some bias here. Especially considering the other William Dixon Wright story was one that I had created later. It's just like, no, this is more fun. Although that also was kind of like important for lore-wise, right? But again, I'm talking about stuff that you will not understand. Especially because I'm not even sure that I'll bloody publish this. Or even how. But I'm certainly thinking that I'll have to upload it as a PDF. And I'm thinking what I'm going to do is kind of have a compilation of the short stories that will be kind of released at once. And I'm not saying it will necessarily be released very soon, because I might decide to add a couple of stories on. Because basically, there are a couple of things here that are just sort of introductory stories. And that could do with like a second meteor story to be chucked on top. And also, I might just decide to do more stuff with this. Because essentially, like, I figure instead of trying to publish as I write them a kind of series about the setting up of this new multiverse, I figure it's kind of better to, well, not this new multiverse, but this new era of the multiverse. Instead of kind of trying to do this stuff organically as it occurs to me, I figure it makes more sense to kind of publish it at once in a whole thing so that you can look at it in context, right? And the stories will be relatively standalone. I mean, frankly, as it is at the moment, they still got they still got the standard, short story formatting at the top of like the title and my name, right? Like, which obviously, if it's in a great big compilation, it maybe doesn't need. So, formatting is going to be a thing to consider. But yeah, I've done a lot of writing, and I'm feeling kind of good about it. I mean, there's one or two things that I'm not feeling so hot about in terms of, like, I'm not sure whether this is going to cause problems, right? I mean, I've had some issues to work through, And I think there is definitely going to have to be a certain amount of editing going on here. And when I'm doing editing, you know things are bad, right? Because and yeah. By the way, I'm having to shut the windows. So I have to shut the windows during a British summer when it is actually hot and nobody has air conditioning. The Brits do not believe in air conditioning, and obviously we're going to sell the house, so we're not going to buy air conditioning. And I have no real idea where the hell I'm going to be living. So that's going to be fun. That is that is that's going to be fun. But yeah, I'm feeling good about the writing, and I'm feeling good about the walking. You know, if I can afford to keep getting new trousers and new shoes. Um, and I've already got a new podcast lined up after I finish this New Adventures podcast. The Farscape Friday podcast. So yeah, I was actually kind of surprised because I'm sort of accidentally like fairly sexist in terms of what I listen to and read in that. Like, I don't deliberately, or at least I'm not aware of deliberately going out my way to only read stuff written by men and only listen to stuff by men. But I have found that it's like, ooh, what are my favourite authors? What are the authors that are in my Audible collection? Basically all white men. Basically all white Englishmen. Right? What are the podcasts? Basically all white English, Canadian, or American men. Yeah, yeah. I'm not good. I'm not good. You know. I am unfortunately probably quite problematic, even aside from my fiction and what you think of me as a person. Um, but yeah. So it's kind of like an immense sort of relief and joy to realize, oh, this podcast that I'm going to love listening to, it's got women in it. Yay! Yeah. And I know there are Doctor Who podcasts that have women in them that kind of I I I was going for a stage of like contacting podcasts I like, and then it was just like, oh, the shame, the shame. What have I written? What have I done? I must go, crawl into the darkest pits of hell, and just wither away and die. Oh, the shame, embarrassment. Um, but basically, why I'm thinking I might check this YouTube channel as well. Um, but yeah, yeah, I've got podcasts lined up to listen to. I'm still watching through Blake 7. Still fucking good. Um, I've got comedy shows to watch. I've got films to watch on my list. You know, still yet to see Guardians of the Galaxy 2 and Wonder Woman. You know, those are two movies that I think are going to be quite nice to watch, or at least are going to certainly provide quite interesting view bumps later on. Right? I'm not going to do anything so crass or helpful to my money as to, you know, review them when they're topical. But yeah, I'm still in the same place in terms of like physically. I don't know where the fuck I am in terms of like where I'm gonna be living and like jobs. Insane. I don't know what the hell's gonna happen with those stuff. Um, but at the same time, I'm thinking I'm thinking that if this is life, I'm okay with it, right? I'm okay with it. And in a crazy kind of way, the diet helps me, right? In the sense that it's like, well, now cake gets to be a reward now again, which is insane, but like, it matters. You know, it reminds me of that joke about like you joke I think from the two Ronnies, which is these shoes, they're so tight. What are you wearing then? Because I swear, removing these shoes at the end of the day is the only relief I get. Right? And I get that now. I get that. Sometimes you gotta be a little bit shitty to yourself so that when you're not so shitty to yourself, you feel it. Um, Also, I suppose it helps for me in that kind of what I'm doing to be a little bit shitty to myself is all to help stop my feet hurting. Yeah. Um, I'm writing and I'm liking it, and I'm coming to understand and accept who I am as a bisexual guy who is interested in BDSM and writing pulp sci-fi, and like that's cool. And also, right, like, yeah, I have my problems as a writer. I do. I fully acknowledge that. And if the BBC ever did make me the the writer of my own sci-fi series, or somebody was like, I've read I've read your stuff. I'd really like you to make a Farshnute movie. I would be like, okay, I'm going to have to find a way to script edit myself so that I never have a problem whereby I write such shit, right? Right? I would have to find a way if I ever got into a position where like more than, you know, 5 guys and his corgi decided to read my stuff. I would have to kind of seriously edit this stuff and be like, no, we can't have that. We can't have that. Um, just because you've got a fucking responsibility to represent this shit to a large audience, right? Uh, it's all right when you're writing, you know, sort of fetish fiction with a plot, you know, but when you're writing a big screen movie adaptation, yeah, not so much, not so fucking much, right? And yes, I am currently feeling smug as a fucking smug ass snake that like pseudo-feminist Joss Whedon has been revealed as basically really fucking creepy. Like the Wonder Woman script, right? Like part of me is kind of thinking, is this just trolling? Is this just him trying to fuck with the fucking people? Cause this can't be real, right? This can't be pseudo feminist Joss Whedon, right? This can't be how he writes. Unless this is just him, you know, fucking around in the script stage, and like when he directs it and when other people direct it, like it's all there all the time. Like during Buffy, this was being written like this all the same. It's just that people understood. Oh no, Joss is just like that, but he's not like that in person. So we just sort of we just assume that that's like his writing style and we just ignore it. Because Joss Whedon seems to kind of ignore it, right? You know, I don't honestly think that like the Avengers, for all that it does sexualize Black Widow, it's not as sexualizing as this script for Wonder Woman is. And, maybe that's, because, like, Wonder Woman does have its ties to, like, the comic book has its ties to, like, BDSM and male fetish fantasies and stuff like that. And so maybe that's why Joss Whedon, maybe, or you know what, more time passed. But I'm still kind of baffled and amazed and frankly having a mighty fucking laugh. Because I have had this shame happen to me. Like when Notch was doing his stupid fucking, like, Notch and Sargon of Akkad were at one point like chatting about, oh my god, man, these damn SJWs. Like, dude, just cut it. Just step away from Twitter, say sorry, let the shit die down. Advice I should have learnt. You don't keep digging. You do not keep fucking digging, right? You fess up. You say, hey, I cocked up. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done it. Some people, they don't know. Some people, they think this is a war you can win. It's like, dude, you're not gonna win this. Women have been fighting for centuries. You think they are going to stop because you say some mean words on fucking Twitter? No, they aren't, right? You know, the suffragettes faced horrendous stuff. They didn't stop because it was important. Women aren't gonna stop because this is important, right? I'm the fucking lily-livered sissy ass here, going, yeah, I'm not sure I want to do this anymore because, where's the money? Where's the money? And it's not worth it, and mean words, and it's like, women are just walking down the street getting the shit I get on a fucking daily basis. And I mean, I suppose ultimately, like, I've talked about patriarchal momentum before, about how our system perpetuates itself, and this is part of it, right? We have created a society that repeatedly programs men and women to behave a certain way towards men and women. And these are programming things that fuck over both genders, that fuck over all genders. I mean, I suppose all genders specifically, because if you aren't one of the both genders, you really are fucked over. Because you don't exist as far as some people are concerned. Despite the fact that scientifically, there is a heck of a lot of fucking evidence, right? But then again, it's like, this is the thing of all great, all great evil and stupid people, is that they are so convinced they are right because only the truly evil and truly stupid have to be so convinced that they are right, because only the truly evil and truly stupid can carry on believing what they believe without an inch of self-doubt. Because if they had the slightest doubt, then all of this evidence would pile in and they'd go, oh, fuck. And yeah. It's like, I routinely worry that, oh my god, I'm this fucking misogynistic monster. I'm terrible! I'm terrible! I'm a racist, misogynistic monster! Fucking hell, I'm a shite bag! What the fuck am I doing? And then it's like, this Joss Whedon script leaks, and I'm like, no, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I look at the behavior of other people claiming to stand for men's rights, and it's like, no, you just literally hate women. You just literally don't understand how society works. You're just fucking morons talking shit. There are actually misogynist deniers who deny that there has ever been any kind of, like, I can understand how you can be a privileged man who is ignorant as fuck and thinks everything is fine at the moment, right? But how can that extend into the past? How can you deny the fucking past? How can you be so hopped up on male bravado propaganda that you deny that women have ever been oppressed? Like, oh yeah, women. Like, how can you not be aware that women didn't have the right to vote until they fucking fought for it? How can you not be aware that, like, there were all these social taboos about women working, about women, you know, wearing clothes for themselves and owning their own bodies and, you know, living their own fucking lives? How can you be so fucking thick and misogynistic? And then I'm like, oh, the reason I'm asking you all these questions is because I'm not as fucking misogynistic as I think, right? Like, I think I'm the worst because I can't imagine how anybody can be worse than me. And then reality keeps reminding me, oh yeah, you can be, because people are. You know, only the truly evil and truly stupid are utterly convinced that they are right. Because anyone else has to have some measure of evidence backing up what they feel, because otherwise they just stop. Anyway, I think I might watch some Doctor Who. Yeah. I have been Alex Johans. I'm writing some stuff, and I'm still in purgatory. Things could still go drastically tits up, but I'm okay. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm nearly 25. I have a shite moustache. I'm too fat, and I'm losing weight. I'm happy. I'm gonna see you all later. Maybe. Or maybe I'll delete my entire channel and stop you from making uploads of it. Goodbye. Thank you for watching my main channel. Please remember to leave a like, favourite and comment. Shout out to the dislike club. Subscribe if you like what you saw, and share if you know someone who might be interested in the contents of this video. If you would like to help ensure more videos get made, there are a few options available to you. You can whitelist this channel in your adblock software to ensure what ad revenue you provide has a chance of making its way to me. If you sign up to make a regular monthly donation through my Patreon, then you will get to watch a selection of videos available exclusively to my Patreon supporters over at my Patreon page. One-off donations are payable through PayPal, or if that doesn't suit your sensibilities, you can gift items through Steam or Amazon via my public wish lists. Obviously, I don't expect anything, and the vast majority of my videos will remain free and ad-supported. All that remains is to say Trump should be impeached, the genocidal must be stopped, and institute universal basic income now.